This problem is an example of factoring non-monic quadratics, which means that this first term is not 1. In this case, it's 2. And to factor quadratics of this form, it's similar to when it is 1, but you have to do an extra step. So this is called the AC method, because if you have a parabola like ax squared plus bx plus c, you start by multiplying the a and the c term, hence why it's called AC. So for this one, we would multiply the 2 and the 42, and that number is what you use to find the two pairs that multiply to it. So in other words, you need to find two numbers that multiply to a times c, which here is 2 times 42, because this is in standard form for the equation. So 2 times 42 is 84. So they have to multiply to 84, and they have to add to b, and the b term here is 20, so they have to add to b, which is 20. And to figure this out, this is a rather difficult pair to think about, but you might start writing 84 as some factors. So it's 42 times 2, and 42 is 7 times 6. So this is 7 times 6 times 2. And you can note that if you multiply the 7 and the 2, then this is 14 times 6. That's 84. And these two numbers happen to add to 20. That's literally how I figured this out myself. So your two numbers are 14 and 6. Now it's again called the AC method because you multiply them. If you were factoring monic, where a is 1, you would just find them and multiply to c, not AC, so hence the name. So this means that you would then write the quadratic in this way: 2x squared plus, we're going to split up the 14 and the 6 for b. So plus 14x plus 6x plus 42 is equal to 0. And you'll note that this hasn't changed anything because the 14 and the 6, this is just 20x. And so we haven't changed the formula at all, but we've rewritten it in a clever way that allows us to factor it. And so you'll then take out the GCF for the greatest common factor. Factor out GCF. So that would be from the first two. So I'll underline this. So from these two, the GCF is 2 times x. What you're left with is x plus 7. And the GCF for these two, I'll write that in red. The GCF from these two is 6. So you have 6 x plus 7 is equal to 0. Do that in black. Is equal to 0. And now you can factor this again because you have an x plus 7 term and an x plus 7 term. And so what you can do is you can think of factoring that whole group out. And if you do that, what you're left with is 2x plus 6. Those are the factors in front of it. And so this is 2x plus 6. These would be your two factor pairs. So this is your factorization. However, it's actually asking you to solve the equation. And so now that you have it factored, you would use the zero product property to say that either x plus 7 is 0 or 2x plus 6 is 0. This first equation implies that x is negative 7. You can subtract 7 from both sides. The second equation implies that 2x is negative 6 or x is negative 3. You can divide both sides by 2. So these are your two solutions, and it wants you to write them in because of the algorithm. It wants you to write them in with the smaller one first. And so because mine are -7 and -3, and -7 is smaller than -3, I would write it in like that. If your answers were 5 and, I don't know, 10, say, you would have 5 and 10, right? It just wants you to write them in that order. And so that would be your answer for this question.